Stop worrying about what other people think about you is probably something we've all heard before, but let's be honest, how do you actually do that? Because if you knew how to do it, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. So today I'm going to tell you exactly what helped me to get over this fear of people judging you or what other people think about you, and how to finally stop letting people's opinions control your life. So first, to the bad news, people will always talk about you. Now to the good news, people will always talk about you. See what I did there? No matter what you say or do, people will talk about you. So basically what that means is that you can let go. You can let go of the control because it doesn't matter anyways. And I know that is easier said than done, so let's dive into the 5 things that really helped me overcome this fear. So the first point is, you fear judgment because you judge others as well. So have you ever caught yourself gossiping even though you said you didn't want to gossip anymore? I think that's okay because we probably all have, but here's the thing. The more you judge others, the more you fear judgment yourself. Because when you judge, you realize deep down that you are judging people, so other people must judge as well, and you will probably be one of the people who they are judging. It creates this subconscious fear that everybody is watching you and judging you, and all just because you are doing it yourself. So what is the solution? Stop judging, aka start to practice non-judgment. So that means try to stop gossiping, try to stop judging, even if you just catch a bad thought about another person, try to replace that thought with a good thought about that person. And also if you realize that you're in a group of people and this group is starting to judge people or gossip about people, step back, hold yourself accountable, and stop to participate in the group gossip just because you feel like you're supposed to. So instead of judging and gossiping and all of that, focus on yourself and start to practice non-judgment. Let's go to the second point. Your fear of judgment is actually a doubting of yourself. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you're fully confident in something you do or something you say, you don't care what other people think. If you have an opinion you stand behind 100%, if you are doing something that you think is so cool, you just don't care what other people think about you, right? So actually when we fear judgment, most of the time it's not even about them, it's actually about you. Because it's not them judging you, but it's you judging you. So the thing you're probably most afraid of that people judge you for is actually because you're judging yourself or doubting yourself. Here a quick example from me. I was always very afraid of what people thought of me when I was creating content. And after I have started to work on myself, I actually realized that I judged myself for my content in the beginning stages, because I know that it probably wasn't as high quality as it could have been, but also I was judging myself for not having the success I wanted to have, because in the beginning stages it's normal to not have a lot of followers or a lot of likes or to build a community, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I was actually secretly judging myself that I didn't have that following yet, or that I didn't have the success I wanted to have, and because of that I was afraid that other people would judge exactly that as well. So actually I was just doubting myself, and the other people around me reflected the doubt, the fear onto me. So what you fear the most about what other people might judge about you is probably what you judge the most about yourself as well, or what you doubt about yourself. So what can you do about that? Most of the time it's rooted in your beliefs and in your self-confidence, of course. But I feel like these two have a correlation, so if you have good beliefs, you have good self-confidence. Limiting beliefs are a whole subject for itself, so it will probably need its own video, how to work on your limiting beliefs and stuff. But if you want to make me a video, just tell me and I will do one. But basically you need to work on your beliefs around the subjects that you are scared of other people judging you for. So for an example, in my case, I would have had to work, well, I did, but I would have had to work on my beliefs surrounding my content not being good enough, especially the belief that I am not successful enough, or that I am not creative enough, that I am not skilled enough, and so on. The third point that really helped me to overcome this fear is a reality check. You need to shift perspectives, because oftentimes when we are wrapped up in our heads about what other people think about us, it is so stupid, if I can say so. You live on a floating rock in the universe, and you are so privileged to live here, to have a life here, and you're probably even one of the most privileged people on this planet if you're watching this video, because you have a phone, you have access to the internet, maybe you even live in a safe country, maybe you even live in a country with good chances, maybe you even have emotional and financial stability. And if you're part of these very few people that are so privileged, and you zoom out and you realize, wow, I live in this floating rock, it's even a miracle that even works, like a floating rock in a universe that is like endless. But basically what I want to say is, zoom out, have a perspective shift that this is your life and you can create it. You have this one chance on this floating rock in an internal space, and you can do whatever you want. And instead of doing that, you are letting people's opinions determine the outcome of that one life you have. When you put it like that, you may realize how ridiculous this fear actually is. But I understand, because sometimes you're just wrapped up in your head. So next time you're afraid of what other people think about you, or you're in a situation where you are being judged, just zoom out for a second and realize where you actually are. The fourth point was something that I just learned in the past 2 years after graduating, and it is, don't accept criticism from people who don't have the life that you want to have eventually. Let me ask you something. Would you take financial advice from somebody who is broke, or would you take health advice from somebody who doesn't look after themselves? So you probably get where I'm going. Why are you taking criticism from somebody who doesn't have the outcome that you want to have? A lot of the times the people around us don't have our dream lives. It's not the life that we would imagine for our highest self, but we still go to them for advice or criticism because they are the only people around us that could actually give an opinion about the stuff we want to decide on. But the thing is that they probably don't have the knowledge or the life to give advice on the situation that you have based on the outcome that you want to have. So what can you do about that? First of all, realize that you may have been going to the wrong people to take advice from, and you may have feared their judgment, even if it isn't their place to judge because they don't have the life that you want anyways. And the second step after becoming aware of that is to actually seek out people who can give you the advice that you need. So people who have your dream life. For an example, if you want to become an influencer, please write your favorite influencer or influencers, because maybe they don't see your messages, but ask them, how can you get started on this? Or I think I want to upload my first video, but I don't know how. Do you have tips? I actually had quite a few people in my DMs asking me about how to start with content creation, and I know that I'm not such a big content creator, but still people came to me and they asked me like, Rosalie, how can I start with content creation? I want to start, but I'm overwhelmed and I fear judgment. But that is actually the perfect thing that they could have done. Instead of going to a family member or going to a friend or anything, they came to me, somebody who already started with content creation, somebody who maybe even gained a little following and who knows how these things work in this space, and they asked me for guidance and not the people who don't have the life they aspire. Let's go to the fifth point that actually helped me to come over this fear of judgment. And I actually think this is one of the most important points of all, just because now looking back at it, I wished I realized this sooner, but I know that it was my journey and it was meant to be for me to learn it like this and at this time in my life. But the time you're wasting with not doing the things that you want to do, or with not starting to chase your dreams, you could have invested the time to change your life, and you would be much further in life right now if you started earlier. So what I mean by this is, what is something you don't do because you fear what other people might think or say about you if you did that thing, or if you started to chase that dream? So now if you imagine that no opinion would matter, imagine that you would be the only human on the planet, for example, and other people wouldn't judge you at all. You probably would have started maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever that dream was planted in your heart. But because you fear the judgment of the other people, you just didn't start, for an example, content creation. But if you would have started 2 years ago, maybe you would already be at 20k, 50k, maybe even 100, a million, who knows where you would be. So if you let other people determine your life and acting on your dreams, you are limiting your own success. So worrying about other people's opinions is actually costing you your future and your success. So every time you're spiraling in this overthinking, in this thought process or fear process, if I can say so, ask yourself, is this overthinking actually bringing me closer to my dream life, or is it stopping me from chasing my own success? And you probably know what the answer is most of the time. Coming to the final thoughts, stop trying to please everyone. If you're a big people pleaser, the fear of judgment is even bigger than if you're not a very big people pleaser. And if you're watching this, you probably are a people pleaser. So if you spend your life trying to please everybody, you're actually not living your own life. You're living the life of the people who you're afraid of judging you. And do you want such a life? Do you want to live a life based on the opinions of other people? Because you can try to please as much as you want. People will always talk about you, and people will never be 100% content, because that is just how humans work. That is our ego. And even if you've worked on yourself for like 20 years, sometimes negative thoughts just come up. So in my opinion, that's pretty normal that people just judge you, and it's a part of life. So you can try to please everybody as much as you want. It's not going to change the fact that they will still talk about you. And also stop keeping yourself small. You have so much potential, and you're keeping that potential locked inside a cage because you are afraid of what other people think about you. You're not chasing your dreams, what your life could have been, and still not everybody will be happy, and still people will judge you. So it's kind of a double loss. else. And another thought I want to share at the end is, imagine your 80-year-old self laying on her deathbed and looking back at her life and seeing that she actually had so many dreams to achieve, but she did none of them because she was scared of what other people thought about her. So if you're watching this video, make your 80-year-old self proud and chase your dreams and not let other people's opinions determine your dreams and your life. So that was the short video for today. I hope this helped somebody, and if it did, if it helped you, I would be so happy if you would subscribe to my channel.